arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
All right, a very good morning to you. Thank you once again for joining us on today's edition of Straight Talk right here on Bright Television, home of talk and entertainment. Don't forget that the program is basically designed to look deep into issues that affect Nigeria as a country and Nigerians, our citizens. Welcome to the program. My name is Ayobami Adeyemo. Let's look at some few media reports as we speak right now. Well, it's no more news, but indication shows that there's been a lot of threats as regards the 2023 elections, attacks from different angles, especially attacks that affected INEC offices in Ogun and Osun states respectively. And INEC has given us some figures that it's been recorded that 47 incidents in 33 months has been recorded. INEC is also holding an emergency security meeting today to see how they can tackle that issue. You will also recall that the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate's convoy was attacked in Maiduguri, Borno State, just some days ago. And this is part of what the IGP and the police force are also looking deep into, as IGP also indicates that there will be probes on attack on Atiku's convoy. But let's look at some other things. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria visited United Kingdom, where his host, the monarch of the United Kingdom, King Charles III, actually asked some interesting questions. And one of the questions he asked the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is that, does he have a building or house in the United Kingdom? And the President replied, I do not have. I don't have intention to have. But a clip of what transpired is coming your way in a moment. Do watch it. We'll be back to give you more.
All unregistered vehicles.
Republic of Nigeria, Your Majesty.
The depth and breadth of talent in the Conservative Party.
All right, the President and the King Charles III right there at Buckingham Palace in the United Kingdom. Well, away from that, still in the political space, there's been lots of what trades between political parties like APC and PDP as regards the $46,000 for future of the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And well, the official spokesperson of 2023 presidential campaign committee, talking about Festus Keyamo-San, has also come out to clear the air as regards the involvement of his principal concerning a drug traffic related case. Footage of some documents were seen in the media space, but the People's Democratic Party is still calling for proper probe concerning this part. Away from that, well, it's a time for us to also reflect on what we've achieved over the years from January till this moment now, especially when it comes to the Ember. There's always it's tagged as the Ember Month. But what do we do to protect ourselves as citizens that use the road in our country, Nigeria, especially the Federal Capital Territory? We'll be focusing on the Ember Month and the activities of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and Nigeria at large on this program itself. And of course, to join us on the conversation, we'll go for a break. When we return, my guest will join us. We'll look deep and dig deep into this activity. Please stay with us. We'll be back.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold form recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
Thank you once again for joining us. Still Straight Talk right here on Bright Television, the of talk and entertainment. Follow us on all our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and catch us live on YouTube. Make sure you get your TS TV decoder, channel 102 on TS TV Africa. All right, let's get straight to the main conversation for today. And joining us to talk about the safety of lives and properties, especially on our road as regards the activities that will be happening in the Ember month, is the FCT sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps. I'm talking about Mr. Samuel Ogar Ochi. Thank you so much for joining us on this program again, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Should I say Happy New Year? Okay, well, it's not Happy New Year anyway. Happy New Month. It's been long with us, sir.
It's quite some time.
Good to see you this month, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for always sharing your time with us. Let's kick off with, well, the introduction is all about the Ember Month, and I know the campaign is still on right now. The efforts to sensitize, to educate road users is still ongoing right now. How far was the Ember Month with us here?
Okay. We started the Ember Month quite early this year, the Ember Month campaign. Precisely, you remember, August, I did mention that we had a robust meeting with all stakeholders.
Yes.
And all the union members who are present in the meeting. Since then, we've been having a lot of engagements, sensitization program, and this week we're entering is actually a climax of activities. Internationally, we are marking the remembrance of road traffic crash victims worldwide. You will recall that over the years, we have been marking the remembrance of those that died during traffic crashes and those that were injured. The week we're entering is actually the International Week for Remembrance of Road Traffic Crash Victims.
Okay.
Precisely on Tuesday is going to be the opening ceremony here in the FCT, where all stakeholders will be coming together to remember those that have died, those that have paid the supreme sacrifice, as a result of one thing or the other on the road, and then those that have had, injuries. So we'll do that on Tuesday. On Wednesday, it's going to be a sensitization program to the motor park. We're choosing the Jabi Motor Park in the FCT, where we'll be having a program with all the union members. And then on Thursday, it's going to be the program for all the youths that will be meeting together. The youth forms the largest population of those that had one situation or the other with road traffic crashes, whether they have lost their beloved parents and all that. So it's going to be a focus on the youth of all categories on Thursday. We'll be having a workshop for all of them. Then on Saturday, all the women will be paying a visit to the hospital. We're choosing precisely the General Hospital at Wuse, where the accident victims will be focused during this period, and then we'll be sympathizing with those that have sustained some level of injuries during this time. On Friday will be a mosque prayers, and then on Sunday will be the climax of the whole program. So it is part of the sensitization that is going on. A lot of flag off have been done. Since we did the major flag off at the Area 1 Motor Park, we have gone around all the area councils in the FCT, Gwagwalada, Buhari, the municipal, and all of them had their own slot of the motor park rallies. And we are doing all this to ensure that every Nigerian is carried along this time around in the effort at ensuring safety on the highway in the FCT.
All right, let's focus. Let's take it a step at a time. I'm interested on Thursday, which is for the youth. Let's kick off with that first. And you said there will be a workshop for the youth.
For the youth, yes.
And just to sensitize them, to educate them on many things. What triggered these interests, basically? Towards the youth, because we have lots of people.
Okay.
You mentioned, they are close to those that lost a lot of people. Apart from that, what draw your attention towards the youth?
You know that we have this program for the youth, for the children and the youth. We have the Road Safety Club that is in the schools. And also in the NYC, we have the Road Safety Club for the NYC. And the essence of that is to catch them young. Okay. Whether we like it or not, the youthful population happens to be the major target when it comes to road traffic crashes. Whether you are talking in terms of the number of them that died when a crash occurs on the highway, the population that is mobile generally is within the youthful population. They are the ones that travel from one point to the other. And not only that, if in the event of a crash that leads to a loss of life, if a particular family, parents have been affected, and the youths happen to be the victims when it comes to this issue. So we're looking at the possibility of enlightening this level of the population that will impact positively on the general public. By the time you get across to the youths, between the ages of 5 to 25 to 30, you have addressed a very major aspect of the youthful age, and you have also addressed a very major aspect or percentage of those that use the road. And I think this is our focus, in this area of remembering the youths during this period.
All right, so we'll be looking at the causes, the preventions and preventive measures.
Measures, yes.
And how to also probably apply first aid if incidents or situations like that happen during this workshop. All right, on Tuesday it will be time for the motor parks and the stakeholders, especially those at the motor parks, and you said Jabi
Motor Park would be the location.
Would be the location. All right. So what are we going to be discussing with the motor parks? What exactly will be our focus? Because we've always been doing this, but what is the focus for this particular remembrance season?
The union members have been our major stakeholders. They are the ones that are responsible for transportation of those that are traveling during this period. The NURTW, the retain, and all of them. Like I said, a lot of influence have been on the part of road users have been gotten through the activities in the motor parks. If you look at the activities in the motor park, a number of times people take off from this motor park, and then the drivers that are responsible for the movement of these people are also part of these union members. So there's a need for us to address some vital issues, as it relates to movement of persons at this time. For instance, use of drugs, in the motor parks have been a major issue we have addressed over the years. And we've done a lot level of sensitization, and we've also been able to achieve a lot as far as use of drugs and use of alcohol is concerned. But this is the time that we must draw the attention of these categories of persons so that we can get to the level of sensitizing them and making them to avoid the use of drugs and alcohol during this peak of movement across the country.
Well, interesting indeed. And on Saturday, just to reiterate what you've mentioned, it's going to be General Hospital, we'll say, right, where we'll be looking at the victims
of
Okay,
the victims of road traffic crashes in the hospitals will be visited during this time. And the ROSOA, when I say the ROSOA, the wives of officers of the Federal Road Safety Corps, in conjunction with officers of other agencies, the police, the civil defense, all of us are coming together to visit them symbolically as a way of getting back to the victims of these road traffic crashes. There are quite a number of them in other hospitals, but we're choosing the Wuse General Hospital at this time, and knowing fully well that we know that people have suffered. People have been deprived of their loved ones as a result of road traffic crashes. a way of getting back for the society, or for them to realize that the society is concerned about their condition. I will be going there with some gift items, and things like that to show concern to them. We are inviting the general public to join us during this time, where we are going to show that level of concern to victims of road traffic crashes.
Well, interesting indeed, and we do truly believe your judgment. We truly understand that whether we like it or not, you have played a major role in our society, and thank you for always doing that. Prayer is the master key. I think that's why Friday and Sunday he's been chosen for prayers.
For the
right?
prayers, yes.
All right. Okay, we go for a short break. When we return, we'll definitely have more conversation. It's lots of activities for road users. Yes, how we sensitize, and of course, how we use our roads effectively. But particularly, this season, we've witnessed lots of heavy traffic in the Federal Capital Territory. How do we solve this? This will be one of our focus on the part B of this conversation. Stay with us, please.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They showed form recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They showed form recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
Thank you very much for still staying with us. Straight Talk right here on Bright Television, home of talk and entertainment. I still have my guest here with us. He's the FCT Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps. I'm talking about Ogar Ochi. Thank you, sir, for being part of the conversation with us this beautiful day. Well, let's look at, before we had a break, we were talking about the remembrance activities and stuff like that. But away from that, let's look at lots I've noticed lately. I know my viewers at home also definitely agree with me that lots of we have heavy traffic in the Federal Capital Territory as we speak, from one angle to the other. If you're talking about areas, you mention every area. In fact, I don't want to mention any particular area as we speak right now. And Nigerians are wondering what exactly is happening. Did they move people from one state to relocate them to Federal Capital Territory? What is the challenge? But what exactly is the cause? We're looking at the cause, the implication, and of course how to solve this heavy flow of traffic.
Okay, thank you very much. I think if you have knowledge of what is happening in the country, it will not be a strange thing to observe what is happening in the FCT
Migration
at this time. So, the security challenges all around us. If you look at the states bordering the FCT, Niger, Kaduna, Nasarawa, Kogi precisely, you will realize that influx of persons and vehicles to FCT is a normal thing. Quite a number of people have moved in from these locations, looking at the FCT as the safe environment that they see at this time. And like I said in some editions ago, we had a study between January and June. We noticed a 7.5% increase in vehicular movement in the FCT between January and June. That will tell you that looking at the remaining part of the year, you are likely going to have a double of that percentage coming into the FCT. Now, if that is happening, of course, you should expect that infrastructure should double, but unfortunately, we don't have that within that short period of time. So there's a pressure on the infrastructure in the FCT. Looking at the number of persons that are coming in, we don't have that kind of volume of development, in terms of road infrastructure and things like that. And people are, coming in the more. We noticed that within the Ember Month alone, quite a number of persons that were not in the FCT before this time, including the ones that we consider as some level of nuisance, has also crept into the FCT. So these are the challenges that we're having. In spite of the ban on motorcycles, you still see trickle of motorcyclists coming into the central area. Even though there's an enforcement going on and then restrictions going on, people still that are strangers coming into the country or coming into the FCT are still believing that I can access everywhere. So these are the challenges that we're having. Not only that, apart from the security challenges bringing in the people, we also have the height of political activities. The campaigns have started, and not only that, meetings of all political cycles have started in the FCT. And then you also look at the dimension of religious activities. We have religious leaders visiting us, coming in to hold programs, whether within the city or around the city. So quite a number of these factors are responsible for the increase in vehicular and human movement within the FCT.
All right, let's stick to, because when you mentioned the politicians, the campaigns and everything, it's the season, no matter how it is. Even after the Ember Month, we still have them.
Yes.
What is the plan? What are the plans of the Federal Road Safety Corps, especially FCT, to secure lives and property, and of course to help the road users during these campaigns?
Okay. Let me also mention before I come to that, what are our strategies to address the vehicular movement or the vehicular volume increase, the challenges in the FCT. Of course, if you notice our deployment, our deployment has tried to address these cycles of challenges. We are deploying to areas that we have noticed increase in vehicular movement, increase in population, and you see us having some level of visibility surrounding these areas. Of course, we know that we cannot pick a vehicle with our hand and put it the other way around, but then our presence in those locations will be able to decongest quite a number of these things that are going on. So we're looking at that and expanding our deployment to ensure that we take note of these challenges. Then to the aspect of political and politicking, a lot of strategy and synergizing is going on among all agencies. We had series of meetings before this time, and we're still holding them. INEC being the lead agency, and then the police leading other agencies as far as addressing issues that has to do with politics and political activities are concerned. So working together in the FCT, we have looked at the aspect of addressing, including issues of traffic. Now, we have the SOPs for political parties. If you are coming for campaign, number one, you should draw the attention of all agencies, the police, the civil defense, the road safety. All of us should come to the table and let us draw out areas you are going to do this political campaign. Let us know where you are going to do this and do that, so that we should be able to manage the situation in such a way that other members of the general public are not negatively affected. And I think this is helping us. So political parties that are coming in for campaign, give us notice earlier enough that prepares us to be able to manage traffic along those routes. Not only that, we have also guided them in such a way that, areas of public interest, for instance, the federal secretaries and other public services are not unnecessarily affected when political campaigns are going on, so that the normal activities of every other Nigerian can go on, not being hindered by the activities of political parties. So these are the things that we have put on the table to ensure safety on the highway.
Interesting indeed. But I want us to pick a case study. Just recently, part of my introduction is this scenario that happened in Maiduguri where the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party's convoy was attacked on the way after a peaceful rally, after a peaceful campaign, and of course its rally itself, but was attacked. The attackers are not spirits. They were also visible on the road, and definitely, no matter it is, men, even of force from the police to the road safety, would have seen few of them moving here and there. What do you think we can do? Especially, what are you doing to see how to curb such thing in future? The IGP is saying they are probing it. They will definitely investigate more and see how they can also put the perpetrators into the book. But to avoid such scenario or incident in future, what are the measures you will be taking?
Okay, and looking at that specific incident, you will recall that that area of the country had been a major security threat or security for some time. Of course, for an incident of that nature to happen around that place, calls for greater level of intelligence. I'm very sure that the security agencies that are responsible for that must have taken precautions as far as issues like that are concerned. Of course, we need a lot of intelligence to ensure that where principal officers like the level of a presidential aspirant of a political party must visit, then a lot of intelligence need to be put in place to avoid incidences of that nature. For us in the Federal Road Safety Corps, we collaborate with other agencies of government, the police, to give such information so that issues like that do not happen on the highway.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for that. Well, we are looking at lots of plans for Ember Month, and you still have many more in stock. This is just the 11th day in the month of November. And anyway, funnily, today is my MD's birthday.
Wonderful.
The MD of TSTV Africa. So today's his birthday. So many activities you have for November and December. What are they? Let's look at them.
Okay, that is a good information. Let me use the opportunity to wish him a happy birthday. It's a wonderful thing for us to identify with him. He has been of great assistance to us in disseminating information on safety on the highway. For us in the FCT, we are looking at this year's Ember Month as very critical. Very critical in the sense that it's transiting us into the election year. Come 2023, February 2023 precisely, is the beginning of election in Nigeria. So we are being very emphatic about the need for us to ensure safety on the highway. And that is why immediately after now, there's going to be a very high level of enforcement in the FCT. Enforcement in the sense that, those that are going to be, causing some level of obstruction, to safety on the highway will be taken care of. And that is why we are introducing, with effect from next week, mobile courts in the FCT. Okay. For some time now, we've not had mobile court sitting for traffic offenders in the FCT, but there's the need for us to collaborate with the judiciary to start that as early as possible in the FCT. So the Ember Month activities campaign will be characterized with several sittings of mobile courts, whether you are looking at the Gwagwalada end to Lokoja, there's going to be regular sitting of mobile court. You are looking at Zuba area. These are critical areas that we need people to comply with traffic regulations. We are going to be having regular sittings of mobile court around those routes. And that is one of the strategies that we're putting in place to ensure that we have that level of sanity in the FCT during this period. Well,
interesting. Well, we'll focus on the mobile course. You said it's coming a week time.
That's a week time from now.
From now. So the activities now, what will be the procedures? What will be the process of these mobile courts?
Okay. The mobile courts are usually the normal sitting of a court, but mobile in the sense that it is holding in an environment outside the court environment, or the court sitting. The magistrate will be there, and then it's going to be an activity that is in conjunction with the Nigerian police, the civil defense. So there's going to be deployment of the Nigerian police to the scene. The civil defense, the armed civil defense will be there with us. And then there's going to be, the normal enforcement of traffic regulations and critical offenses. such as use of one way. If you are arrested using one way, you'll be presented to the mobile court. So instead of being issued a ticket and then you are given the option to go and pay, in this case, you'll be made to face the magistrate there and then. And then the magistrate will determine your fate. You will have to defend yourself why you have to use one way when you are supposed to know the law and guiding the use of the road. If you are using your phone while driving, these are critical offenses that could lead to crash and lead to death of other road users. If you are beating traffic lights and issues that have to do with critical offenses, you'll be charged to the mobile court and the investigation will be done right there and the sentence will be given to you right there.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the duration because I know the judiciary, they're doing a great job. They have procedures, and of course, with you partnering with them, there will be procedures to follow and processes to follow. What will be the procedure? The duration like? Are we saying come back tomorrow, come back next?
Mobile calls.
I just want more information
for people to know. Mobile calls are generally what we refer to as summary trials.
Okay.
Summary trial in the sense that are you guilty, you are not guilty. Where it is necessary for further investigation, of course, will be referred to the regular court sitting.
Okay.
But for the mobile court, it will hear your case and give a sentence as the case may be there and then. And of course, I know that these are matured magistrates that will handle the case as they are supposed to be.
Well, very interesting indeed, and I know lots of people are interested in these great developments that you've been sharing with us this beautiful morning. Well, away from these ones, let's look at so many other things, especially the tricycle riders, the motorcycles, the areas that are not being banned now, and the areas that have been banned, and of course those who also definitely look for vehicles, private vehicles for, those that use private vehicles for commercial purposes. We're going to break it down one after the other. But let's look at the tricycle and the motorcycle riders. How far with their own enforcement and of course more of the education towards that direction?
Okay, I did promise the 2 editions of this program that we're going to have some level of training for tricyclists, that is the keke napep. That actually took place 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We know that some parts of the FCT still there's still provision for them to operate.
Yes.
Apart from the FCC that they are not supposed to be at all, they are still operating in areas like Gwarimpa, Kubwa, Nyanya, and all those places. So arrangements have been on. We have done 2 segments of the training. Gwarimpa had their own slot. We've done training for tricyclists, or the need for them to obey traffic regulations. How do they get driver's license or rider's license, as the case may be? So those are the levels of training that we're giving them. We call it the basic training for them at the moment. We're doing the same thing for those within the Zuba area, bringing all of them from the whole of Day and the whole of that environment to Zuba, where we'll be holding a training for them. And then the Nyanya slot was also held last week. So we're doing all this, including the motorcycles will come under this training program to ensure that even those of them that may not have the privilege of the normal education from the classroom, they should be able to have some level of knowledge as to how to apply brake and things like that when they come across issues on the highway. So this is the level that we're going on. Unfortunately, we noticed that in spite of the level of education and public sensitization, a number of the users of these categories of vehicles, the motorcyclists, the keke napep, are still, showing very high level of disobedience on the highway. We have warned several times that, in line with the ban that FCD had placed on these categories of road users, people should adhere to this. If not, their motorcycle or their keke will be arrested. For instance, the whole of AYA, we're not expecting to have any of them along this route, because that is the directive of the FCTA. But we notice that some of them, particularly early hours of the morning, are still strained to this environment. During this Ember Month, our enforcement will be focusing on that, and in collaboration with the VIO, once your motorcycle is arrested, will hand your vehicle over to the VIO. And of course, we know that the consequence is the crushing of that vehicle in line with the mandate that the FCT has given to the VIO.
So they're not going to, their own case, they're not facing mobile court.
In their own case, no mobile court.
All right, let's look at the pedestrian, we have pedestrian bridges everywhere, especially on the highway. And we've seen situations where people will abandon the pedestrian bridge and still break the door, the road,
crossing the
express without using this. What exactly will be the focus for these particular incidents and cases?
It's really an unfortunate thing that we're experiencing, in most of the areas that these pedestrian bridges have been provided. I tell you that, if we reveal the statistics of the number of persons that are knocked down, particularly on airport roads, we have that almost on daily basis, particularly in the evenings and in the night hours. We have people that have been knocked down as a result of people crossing the expressway and not, adhering to the use of the pedestrian bridges. We, as much as possible, have been enlightening these communities, particularly that are living within these areas, of the expressway. If you look at the airport road, for instance, the areas that we have these experiences mostly around the police signboard, the car wash area. We have these pedestrian bridges that are provided conspicuously in these locations. And then we have these two communities that are living opposite the two expressway on this area. And a number of them will come out to tell you that it is their life. I don't need to use the pedestrian bridge. I want to cross like this and things like that. Unfortunately for us, as the mandate that we have on enforcement does not allow us to arrest individuals. Rather, we enlighten, we make them realize the consequence of doing that. Of course, because we also consider life as important, we're also collaborating with the police, with the ABP that have the mandate to arrest. Of course, where such a person is arrested, we'll hand you over to police for using for crossing the road, endangering your own life, and the necessary thing will be done.
Well, interesting conversation indeed. Somebody sent me a message. It says, please kindly talk about the fuel scarcity and the queue, which is also contributing to the traffic in FCT. Let's talk about that.
Interestingly, this time around, I think I will need to commend Nigerians in the FCT. Unlike the experience we'll be having before this time. Anytime there's fuel scarcity, there's always blockage of roads all over the FCT. I think there's a slight reduction in that attitude this time. Rather, you see a lot of queues that are properly aligned, and except maybe for cases around the NMPC at the central area. We have the challenge. Of course, we are deploying men to this location. If not, if you look at all the other filling stations, look at the Wando, at the central area as well, the queues there are always, off the main traffic stream. So there's a high level of compliance at this time. But we are still saying that Nigerians should, for goodness sake, know that the problem we have at the moment is a temporary problem. It's not something that people should take advantage of and now block the roads. And not only that, if we queue appropriately, as the filling stations have made provision, it's easier for the dispensing of this fuel to those that are buying, or more than a situation where people crowd themselves around the filling station and it becomes difficult for the dispensing of this fuel in the first place. So our appeal to Nigerians is to abide by the provisions that the filling stations have done, so that the dispensing of the fuel can be easier, and then we all have access to the filling station, and then others that are using the road can also use the road amicably.
Okay, another message, and I'm going to read it the way it is. Now, I think I talked about it even during our break, but this one I think is more interesting. It says, ask if the Federal Road Safety has a strong connection and relationship with the Ministry of Works. Definitely, you should have.
Very well.
So my question is, there are roads in FCT that needs to be divided. Are they advising the Ministry of Works to do so? Okay. Now, I think this one will also make me talk about that particular road I talked about, the Idu junction. That is the junction to the EFCC, and of course the hospital there, and going to Vedanta Bridge. That junction is very, very important. Is there any solution to this particular traffic on that axis? Okay, among others.
Well, let me address from the question that he raised, whether we have a good relationship with the Minister of Works. Of course, yes. We just concluded a study or an audit, nationwide. That the report is being forwarded to the Federal Minister of Works, and each time the audit report is forwarded, the Federal Minister of Works is always there to respond to whatever observations that we make on the highway. And I want to commend the minister, for that level of response that has always been there. In the FCT minister has always also responded anytime there's a study from the Federal Road Safety Corps and is sent to his ministry. If you look at what is going on in the FCT at the moment, in the area of lightening of the streets, a lot has been done in providing solar lights within the city center, and I think that is a direct response to the observation that we made to the FCT minister, and he has been responding. Now, as to the areas that you have mentioned, I want us to realize that FCT is development in the making. An FCT, if you look at the master plan, has stages of development. So there are quite a number of roads that are existing that, if we look at what is supposed to be, the government is still working towards, expanding or enlarging whatever thing that is there at the moment. I think that is why I want to say generally that Nigerians, living in the FCT should have some level of patience, restraint, knowing fully well that the government is working towards achieving the master plan of the FCT. The Idu airport road is a major road that I believe strongly that the government has, further plan as far as, because it's an industrial environment, so much is being done to ensure that that road should be able to accommodate the volume of traffic that it has. It will be done very soon.
We hope that that is done, and of course every other road users will benefit more from you. So very big thank you, sir, for joining us on the program. Before you go, I know you still have some little things to just reiterate and of course throw more lights before you leave the studio with us. Yes.
Again, I want to appreciate Nigerians that have been cooperating with us in the FCT. We've come this far in the Ember Moon campaign, but then we have not gone around the circuit. We're just in November, and for us to say we have achieved this much, one would have been able to say no life is lost on the highway. So I will expect that, if we're driving in the FCT at this time, as we transit from the rainy season to the dry season, people must take cognizance of the challenges that come with the dry season. And if you wake up early in the morning, you will notice that you may not be able to see too far from your immediate environment because of the haze, because we're going to have the hammer time very soon.
Very true.
So these are the things that Nigerians should take note of while we are using our road. Not only that, we have mentioned the issue of the volume of traffic that has increased in the FCT. Let's show some level of restraint. Let's be patient so that all of us can transit this period successfully to the next year.
Thank you so much, the FCT Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, talking about Ogar Samuel Ochi. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.
And I must thank you personally for the opportunity again.
Thank you very much.
Behind the scene anyway. All right, that's the package on today's edition of Straight Talk, right here on Bright Television, the home of talk and entertainment. Gallant officers behind the scene too, making sure that everything is going smoothly. And of course, every other person that has been part of this production, we say thank you to you. God bless you. We're still celebrating our managing director, yes, the man behind the vision of TSTV Africa, talking about Dr. Bright HFO. Today's your day. We celebrate you, sir. On behalf of everyone, we say thank you. Once again, like I always tell you, I keep reminding you, when you play your part, I play my part, we have a better place called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My name is Ayobami Adeyemo. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
They sold farm recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.